Let me turn to public debt management, Mr. Speaker. Kenya's public debt remains sustainable, but with elevated risks of debt distress due to persistent global shocks that adversely affect the liquidity ratios. The depreciation of the Kenya shilling against major currencies and the rise of interest rates have elevated cost of debt service. Further, the depreciation of the currency has increased the size of the public debt stock, as half of the public debt is actually denominated in foreign currency. Although the debt burden has risen, Kenya has not accumulated debt service arrears, and the government is committed to honor all public debt obligations as they fall due. Over the medium term, revenue-driven fiscal consolidation policy stance is expected to improve further the country's debt sustainability ratios and debt carrying capacity. Mr. Speaker, the current limit of the debt as approved in 2020 by this House is Kenya shillings 10 trillion. Guided by the best practice, the government intends to change the public debt ceiling from a numerical number to a debt anchor in the form of a ratio of public debt to GDP in present value terms. The proposed change to the debt ceiling provides an appropriate guide for optimal level of public debt based on the country's ability to pay. This is the debt carrying capacity that can objectively be assessed, as well as provide directions on information on debt accumulation or reduction from time to time. In order to anchor debt ceiling in a statute, the National Treasury developed a Public Finance Management Amendment Bill 2023, which has been submitted to this august House for enactment. The bill was subjected to public participation in line with the requirements of the Constitution of Kenya on transparency and accountability in public policy formulation. I urge the honorable members to prioritize and consider this bill favorably. Mr. Speaker, the external debt service is projected to increase to Kenya shillings 475.6 billion in financial year 2023-2024 from Kenya shillings 242.1 billion in the financial year 2023-2023 for financial year 2022-2023, mainly reflecting redemption of the US dollar 2.0 billion Eurobond, which is approximately 241.8 billion with the current exchange rate. In preparation for the redemption of this maturing bond, the National Treasury and the Economic Planning issued an expression of interest to bring on board a lead manager to advise the government on liability management options towards the resolution of the Eurobond 2024. Mr. Speaker, I wish to assure Kenyans and investors that our fiscal positions remain strong and the government remains committed to meet all maturing obligations as and when they fall due, including the maturing Eurobond for June 2024. Mr. Speaker, due to the limited fiscal space, the government has strengthened the public-private partnership, PPP framework, to leverage on private sector expertise to deliver projects that have strong economic, commercial, and environmental benefits that are also aligned to our national priorities with sustainability and climate change as key considerations and drivers. To ensure the sustainability of PPP projects, the Projects Facilitation Fund, PFF, has been operationalized. The fund will support project preparation, provide viability gap funding to projects, as well as a source of liquidity to meet fiscal commitments and contingent liabilities that may arise from PPP projects. Mr. Speaker, With the fund in place and the robust legal and regulatory regime,